What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description.
10 Chapter 296 Auto-generated chapter title. 296. Ron returns to Konoha. What? You said you won't be back for more than 2 months. We still don't understand many things here. I need to consult you. If you never return to the headquarters, this is how to do. After Sengoku listened to Ron's words, cannot help but change his face. What they say is that they just came to this world. At best, I don't know much about it, and the only one who knew the world was Ron. So, they have a lot of things they need to ask Ron. Did not think of. Ron actually said that he wouldn't be back in 2 months. How can this be 22? Sengoku wants to stay, but Ron's attitude is very determined. Sengoku had no choice but to agree. Because he knew. Ron must have his own reasons for doing this. It is inconvenient to interfere too much. So I can only shake my head. It seems that this world needs them to explore by themselves. Fortunately, Ron had already said it. Advertisement. If you encounter any problems you don't understand, you can go to Konoha village to find him. After bid farewell to Ron. 0. The entire marine began to enter into a busy reorganization. A warship transports supplies from the island like here. Within these few days, there is also a steady stream of ninjas from other villages. Coming one after another. But when they first came here, it was also the first time they met Marine. All people have the same expression. A look of astonishment. And everyone was wary at first. It is an unfamiliar organization. And I have never heard of their names before. The most important thing is that they gave too much money. This is really counterintuitive. The so-called abnormal things must have demons. So they were very vigilant at the beginning. But found through work. These Marines really paid them so much. This is really shocking. And the work is relatively simple. It's really as written on the task list. Use ninjutsu to build houses. Although this request is very strange. But it can't stand the money given. Advertisement. These ninjas are still very happy. And Ron has returned to Konoha village. Back to his residence. And went to the ninja school on time the next day. When Ron's whereabouts were reported to the 4th generation. The 4 generations are also incredible. She thought Ron would return to his own hometown. After all, it has already begun to be established over there. But never thought of it. Ron unexpectedly returned. This makes the 4 generations very happy. After all, Ron can be said to be a bridge between him and Marine. 370 If you have a good relationship with Ron. This means that he and Marine can always keep friends. And information from various places through it. It can already be seen. Several other villages also focused on Marine. They wanted to get closer to Marine. I even want to form an alliance with the Marine family. The 4th generation is Hokage. Of course, I don't want other villages to be so close to Marine. But, fortunately, Ron returned to Konoha village. This proves that he still has a good impression of Konoha village. 3 more Chapter 297 Auto-generated chapter title. 297. Akatsuki begins to collect tail beasts everywhere. Today's Konoha village. It's not what it used to be. Although most of the ninjas here are to take up the task. But the streets are still lively. And, the story of Marine is almost passed down by the population. After all, this time I can also have such a strong neighbor. To them, it is also a good thing. And it can boost the economy of their Konoha village. This time, basically all of Marine's materials are purchased from Konoha village. This made the economy of the entire Konoha village take off in an instant. Originally, the size of Konoha village was not particularly large. The merchants and shops inside. The daily supply is also relatively small. It's just barely keeping alive. It's hard to say how rich. But this time, facing Marine's massive purchases. Many businesses became rich overnight. It has been sold for several years in almost one day. And it's still continuous. Advertisement. After all, Marine just came to this world. Living supplies plus food and fresh water. All need to be purchased from locals. And Konoha village is the closest. So of course I chose to purchase from Konoha village. Suddenly the economy of Konoha village was boosted. This is envious of the nearby villages. And, because it makes the people's shop rich. Besides, Marine is also their ally. Helped them through the crisis many times. Therefore, the overall impression of Marine in Konoha village is very good. Even Marine's clothes. It has also become a popular style in Konoha village. Many children, all wore cloaks with justice printed on the back. Started to run in the streets and alleys. The entire Marine's clothes have become a fashion trend. In less than a week, it became popular in Konoha village. Ron watched this scene. It feels a bit speechless. But now he is not thinking about these things. Loon has spent more than a month in Konoha village. The template progress has reached more than 40%. It will take another 2 months. Advertisement. You can leave Konoha village completely. However, just today, a big event happened. A new organization has emerged. And, start collecting tail beasts all over the world. Almost on the desk of the leaders of the major shinobu villages. All received this secret document. I also frowned at this moment, looking at the document in his hand. 4 tails have now been taken away. And the people who do it all. It is an organization called Akatsuki. Where did this come from again? I heard that they are all rebels in various villages. Is that right? 4 generations said angrily. I don't know why they collect tail beasts everywhere. This organizational method is extremely cruel. Gengsho suddenly pushed the door and said. The 4th generation, Good Zhaos, also remembered the previous events. Not long ago, there are also Kyubi from Konoha village. Are they also in the same group? Tsunade, it's time to investigate this organization. Look at, what are they conspiring? Chapter 298, auto-generated chapter title. 298, Ninja Exam. It was another few days safe and sound. Marine is still building a house in an orderly manner. And the ninjas from each village are all in place. Under the guidance of Sengoku, everyone is assigned a different task. According to the current work progress, want to rebuild a marine headquarters here. It will probably take more than half a month. I have to say that this efficiency is already fast. This is entirely due to the large number of marines. Coupled with the ninja's strange ninjutsu as an aid. Therefore, this efficiency can be achieved. And Ron. I still go to other schools step by step every day. After half a month, 370 rooms. The crime of sloth template, your progress has exceeded 50%. Although it is a fixed increase of 1% every day. But it is relatively stable. And Ron is more comfortable. There is no need to fight and kill like before, consume physical strength. Nowadays, the whole Konoha village has changed drastically. Danzo has been eliminated. Now the whole route has been disbanded. Advertisement. And where is the Uchiha clan? Uchiha Shisui has also taken over as the team leader. So, it is relatively stable there for the time being. Although it was after a civil strife. Causes the vitality of Konoha village to be severely injured. But, for Konoha, this is equivalent to pulling out a malignant tumor. Although it will be a short-term injury. In the long run. It is indeed rejuvenated. However, today is the day for Zongen exams. Ron has been studying here for a long time. Finally ushered in the annual Zongen exam. The ninja of almost the entire ninja world. All come to Konoha to take the exam. This exam serves as a symbol of peace. Yokie village began to undertake it. Ron was a qualified ninja. Also obtained the qualification for the exam. Although Ron didn't want to participate. The reason why I chose to take the Zongen exam this time was in the village of Konoha. In fact, a big reason is that Konoha and Marine have formed an alliance CCCC. The heads of several other villages. Advertisement. I also want to take this opportunity to visit Konoha village. See if you can have a relationship with Marine. After all, everyone knows the strength of Marine. So I don't want to miss this powerful ally. Then, this is the opportunity to take the Zongen exam. All the villages discussed and decided to set the central examination place in the village of Konoha. After all, Marine's headquarters is the closest to Konoha. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. It is only limited to intelligence. But almost all the leaders of the 5 ninja villages came. To reach them, today should be one of the few and most lively days in Konoha village. So they can come to Konoha justifiably. This time, although it is named to take the Zongen exam. So, they had never seen Marine before. Ninjas from other villages entered the village one after another. But in fact, I want to take the opportunity to have a good relationship with Marine. Never mind that this time it was an ordinary Zongen exam. Understanding of Marine, water shadows, earth shadows, wind shadows, movies, all came to Konoha village in unison. There are many opportunities, as long as they came to Konoha. Chapter 299, auto-generated chapter title. 299, the provocation of movies. It seems that Konoha village suffered no harm in that battle. I thought the village was almost destroyed. Boom. Lei Ying directly descended from the sky and landed on the street. I looked around and said, I said you guys don't be so anxious, okay? What does it look like? The water shadow came slowly from behind. I looked around. I couldn't help but compare my own village. He found that Konoha was still better than his own village.
It seems that the 4 generations of Hokage are well managed. Isn't this Shui Ying? Long time no see, the movie snorted and said. It's not that long either, but if you can, I really don't want to see you. Shui Ying didn't give Lei Ying a good face at all. At this time, suddenly, a figure passed by between the two. It was Ron. These 2 guys. Be in the middle of the road. You can pretend to be forceful, but don't stand in my way. Ron mumbled and walked past the middle. Advertisement. He didn't take a serious look at these 2 guys, for the shadow-level powerhouses in other villages. Ron couldn't raise any interest at all. Wait a moment. You kid, what did you just say? Reikage was about to argue with Shui Ying. Unexpectedly, at this time, a child who seems to be just a ninja actually walked past them. What is this style? Although the 2 of them are standing in the middle of the road. But since it appeared to the present, but no one dared to walk past them. Everyone else took the initiative to avoid it, only this kid turned a blind eye to the 2 of them. Is this the tutor of Konoha village? No education at all. This directly makes the hot-tempered movie unhappy. It seems to be the time. Let's teach the kids in Konoha village for the Bo-Feng Shuiman. Hey, what about you? Didn't you hear? The movie found that Ron seemed to have not heard him. He even walked forward on his own. And he had his hands behind his head. A relaxed and contented look. Advertisement, it's really annoying. For flowers, isn't that too much of my Raikage's eyes? Shui Ying smiled suddenly. I said, you fellow, it's not going to be troublesome with a child.
This is Konoha village. It's not surprising that he doesn't know you, Raikage.
It can only show that this guy's reputation is too small. This statement came out, seems to persuade Riking. Zero in fact, Raikage deeply stimulated, ignorant kid. Have never seen the world. The old man will let him see the world today. Don't see if this is Konoha village, how can this be? Lei Ying's voice just fell, the whole figure disappeared quickly. Turned into a thunder and lightning, this is exactly his ninjutsu. Stimulate the body with the power of thunder and lightning.
Break through the limits of your body. Raikage appeared in front of Ron in an instant. Yeah, you kid, didn't you hear me? Chapter 300 Auto-generated chapter title. 300. Ron. Don't get in the way, don't make yourself trouble.
Ron didn't expect the movie to be so small, he even ran over to see him in general.
After all, in any case, he is also the shinobu of Konoha village in name.
And the other party is Raikage, even disregarding identity. In this kind of street with a lot of people, he looks like he is going to settle accounts with himself. It's really interesting. Ron looked at the tall-looking man in front of him. Still, 373, said in an indifferent appearance.
What, are you calling me? Lei Ying snorted coldly.
What is your attitude? Don't know the original as a guest. I think you people in Konoha village don't have much education. Raikage's tone was very cold, only let the water shadow watch from behind. Can't help but smile. After all, each is the leader of their own village.
Of course, I hope that the relationship between each other is not good.
Only in this way. In order to obtain stability, so Sweeting naturally didn't want Raikage to have a better relationship with Konoha. This is why he chose to add fuel to the fire just now. Advertisement, I don't want to do it today, you'd better not get in the way. Ron still had a light tone, it doesn't give people the feeling of domineering. Just as usual, it came out naturally, heard this sentence. When the time comes, Raikage will be irritated, what did you say? The movie thought I had heard it wrong, unexpectedly, a small child. It's so arrogant, said he didn't want to do it, are you kidding me? Who does he think he is, even with a condescending tone?
Rai Ying laughed. Think about it carefully. Among the information he got, there was no introduction about such a child. In fact, this is not surprising. Because all the spies who know Ron's identity. In fact, they were all secretly cleared by Ron. So. Raikage didn't have news of Ron as it should be. At this time. The movie took a deep breath and said, hey hey hey. Advertisement. What did you kid just say? I don't seem to hear clearly. Pardon. Shui Ying came slowly, can't help but smile. Just said to Lei Ying. I said you are too deterrent, right? I was mocked by such a kid. Ha ha ha, then you should pay attention to it in Konoha village. A cold snort. This is a good thing for you. Don't provoke them casually. The movie is even more angry. Go to the Zongan exam. I didn't joking with you. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. I heard Shui Ying say so. Believe me, otherwise they will do it on you. Ron said lightly. It's almost time now, I advise you not to waste 2.2 hours of my time. This is good for any of us. Don't trouble yourself. Where are you going? I said kid, don't be bullied by children. Chapter 301 Auto-generated chapter title. 301. Since you don't give way, don't blame me. Isn't it? Did I hear it wrong? You said you were going to take the Zongan exam. Yes, Raikage said with a furious smile. A Shurin who took the Zongan exam. He even uttered arrogant words. I want to take a shot at him, Raikage. And let this Raikage not cause trouble for himself. Even condescendingly said that he was not joking. Raikage didn't know what happened for a moment. Are the people in Konoha village so crazy? This guy is going to take the Zongan exam. In other words, he is a ninja. 22 a mere ninja. He even pointed at a shadow level powerhouse. And also ordered the shadow level powerhouses not to cause trouble for themselves. What's wrong with this world? When is it the turn of a ninja to give pointers? I'll say it one last time. Don't trouble yourself. You can't afford it. Get out of here now. Ron said lightly. He is too lazy to move now. Advertisement. But, if someone really provokes Ron. It doesn't mean Ron won't make a move. Ron's temper is not very good. This time, the movie finally made sure that I heard it right. This guy is really ranting to himself. Ha ha ha. Lei Ying suddenly laughed. Suddenly I didn't know how to reply. He has never been stubborn, pointing to the nose to speak like this. It really is. It is really nonsense. Hey, Shui Ying, did you hear what this guy said just now? Lei Ying said to Shui Ying next to him. The water shadow is also quite surprised. He had intended to fan the flames. But never found out. You don't need to ignite yourself. This little Sha Ren has been adding fire to himself. Face them two shadows. Still do not change the face, tolerate. Water shadow has also been seen. But she has never seen it. A shinobu who dared to speak such a wild word. Listen to his tone. As if to teach Lei Ying. Advertisement. This can't help making Shui Ying feel a little funny. It seems that after Konoha village got a thigh, even Sha Ren in the village swelled with it. I don't know what they think. Do you think you hug Marine this thigh? Can you really do whatever you want? Even a ninja is so crazy. This is what Shui Ying did not expect. I said, kid, do you know who is opposite you? Don't apologize to him yet. Shui Ying thought Ron didn't know the movie. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Ron shook his head speechlessly. See Ron not speaking. This is your own trouble. With the water shadow reminded. As long as you apologize, he won't care about you. This is a movie. 373 inches. He is at the same level as you Hokage. You two don't plan to give way, do you? Lei Ying snorted. 4 more, today is over. Do you know the movie? So, Shui Ying finished. So he bent down and said to him. This is, Don't Blame Me. Chapter 302, Auto-Generated Chapter Title. 302. Ron. I advise you to think about it before you speak. Ron is really speechless. I wanted to be quiet. But there are always messy people coming to make trouble. And this Raikage is still annoying. An arrogant look. Fortunately, Ron didn't use the crime of arrogance now. Otherwise see such an arrogant movie. It is estimated that he must have gone up and killed him with a kick. But now Ron didn't want to cause too much trouble. But this doesn't mean that anyone can provoke Ron. Since doing so, then a corresponding price must be paid. If not, doesn't it mean that anyone can come and pick Ron? Ron looked at Lei Ying coldly. Then he glanced at the water shadow next to it. Said to him, are you sure you want to stand here to help Raikage? The water shadow was slightly taken aback. He didn't even react. Instead, Raikage suddenly laughed. You kid are really arrogant. What are you kidding? Does the old man still use others to help? You are really interesting. Advertisement. People like you. If you talk to me like that in Lei Ying village. I'm afraid I've been thrown out to the outskirts to feed the dogs. Lei Ying said coldly. Until then, the water shadow on the side finally reacted. Can't help but laugh. Ha ha ha. Although, you are so arrogant, it makes people uncomfortable to hear. But tell the truth, I didn't stay here to help Raikage. But, if you want me to leave, that's impossible. I think the location here is just right, suitable for watching the two of you talk. I don't plan to change it to another place now. Shui Ying also said with a grin. Ron shook his head, his tone still calm. I advise you to think about it before answering. Ron said lightly. I heard Ron say that. Shui Ying snorted and laughed directly. It's so arrogant. Don't say it's a movie. Now even I am a little angry when I hear it. But, advertisement. It's a movie after all, I have to teach you a lesson. Then I'll give him this opportunity. Right fall. This sentence is what I want to say again. So. What can you do? Shui Ying looked down at Ron. Said somewhat provocatively. In this world, respect for strength. It is really possible to do whatever you want with strength. Without strength, it can only be ravaged by all kinds of big shots. Even their lives are in their hands at any time. This world only believes in strength. For the rest, I don't believe anything. This is the Naruto world. Hey, I said you guys don't rob me. Such a funny kid, I can't bear to let you, good Jiaohao, let me teach him personally. When watching a movie, Water Shadow has to intervene. Immediately preemptively said. Shui Ying shook his head. Okay, there will be one that comes first, and it will be handled by you. But, after you finish your lesson, then it's my turn. Chapter 303, Auto-Generated Chapter Title. 303. Hey, I advise you not to mess with Ron. Ron successfully annoyed the two shadows. After all, the two of them don't know Ron. Just seeing such a very arrogant kid is very upset. It was so rude to the two of them. He dared to speak arrogantly. A person who can be a strong shadow class. Which one is good-tempered? So ignored on the street. And also babbled. If you don't educate them. Then where are their faces as shadows? And it's in someone else's village. I brought a lot of hands down. If in another village, being so scrutinized by the opponent's people. If you don't find some places back, then they are really in vain. Now I haven't experienced the last ninja war. These villages don't live in peace. 373 They will dispute over some things at any time. Every village is burdened with war. So, they would not consider some consequences. Shui Ying frowned. Then he took a few steps back. He decided to give this space to Lei Ying. And wait a while before dealing with this kid. Advertisement. He wanted to see this kid. What does the expression begging for mercy look like? Want to say here. Really a little excited. Raking clenched his fists. The sound of bone collision rattles. Then step by step towards CCCC Ron. That kind of expression. Full of killing intent. Even some ordinary ninjas saw this scene. Will be frightened and tremble all over. Unable to stand on both legs. Fall directly to the ground. But Ron was different. Ron just looked at Raikage faintly. This made Lei Ying even more puzzled. He thought that the other party was just a kid who could show his tongue. But never expected, he was able to keep standing in front of his own coercion. This is already very rare. This is not something that Sha Ren can do. It turned out that the Zongren of Class 1 couldn't help it. But this kid in front of me. But he did not change his face. Not to mention that the legs are weak. There was not even a tremor in the body. It's really strange. Advertisement. Is it true that a newborn calf is not afraid of tigers? Is it really the one who doesn't know? Or does this kid really have some strength? This made Lei Ying instantly interested. You kid. It really makes me admire. It looks like you have some skill. But, I'm afraid you don't know how high the sky is. At this time, some people suddenly spoke about it. They all gathered around immediately. However, Lei Ying originally thought that these onlookers were trying to intercede with Ron, but he never thought that they came to persuade him. The actions here certainly attracted others in Konoha village. Hey, if no one says you are rakeage. Seeing so many people gathered around. See this scene here at this moment. Lei natural shadow is even more unlikely to fall under the wind. I advise you not to mess with him. They knew who Ron was. Don't cry and complain to the fourth generation. Lei Ying's expression became more and more ferocious. I will teach you a lesson today. Step by step, he walked towards Ron. Otherwise you will regret it. Chapter 304, auto-generated chapter title. 304. Why never get Ron's information? Hear the words of the onlookers. He almost didn't make Raikage amused. What did you say? Did I hear it wrong? Don't persuade this kid to let him run quickly. Instead, come over and persuade his wife not to mess with him. Are all of your people in Konoha village brains sick? The movie frowned, angrily said with a smile. Do people in this village have brain diseases? This kid doesn't recognize that he is Raikage, so it's good to say. But it's impossible for other people in the village not to know themselves. That being the case, they even said that. What exactly is going on? Are these guys mentally sick? Not just movies. Even the water shadow on the side felt something was wrong. It stands to reason that this is impossible. It's understandable that a kid uttered such wild words. But as someone else, it is impossible to follow him crazy. Advertisement. Is this kid really not simple? In other words, his strength is really strong. This is impossible. If there is such a strong person in Konoha village, he will definitely get information. You know, he can put a lot of eyeliner in Konoha village. If there really is a strong man at such a young age in Konoha village, it's impossible not to know these eyeliners. It is impossible not to pass this information back to their village. And Shui Ying knew clearly. She has never accepted such a situation. In other words, this kid is at best an ordinary kid. It is impossible to be a strong one. Otherwise, he will definitely receive information. Even the Raikage at the moment. Although he has always been carefree. But his thoughts at the moment are similar to those of Water Shadow. In fact, what they don't know is, Ron had already killed the intelligence personnel in these outer villages who knew his strength. He didn't want anyone to watch the place where he lived. Especially these people are from other villages. Advertisement. Even the imprint of the God of Thunder placed around Ron by the fourth generation of Naruto has been quietly removed by Ron. Not to mention the surveillance of other villages. This is also the reason why Ron is so strong, but the other villagers really don't know it at all. For flowers. Because no one can send out the information at all. Hey, I said you water shadows and movies. Go what you should do, don't mess with her. Otherwise, you will regret it. We are not kidding me. This is really good for you. After all, this is Konoha village. The original ones are all guests. Don't hurt your kindness here. The main thing is not to lose face here. The ninjas around all said with a smile. Of course they were not afraid of Ron being bullied. On the contrary, they are more afraid that Rai Ying and Shui Ying will be bullied here. After all, they are the leaders of a village. If it is really defeated by a small servant shinobu in Konoha village, then their reputation will be ruined. At that time these villages will inevitably lead to war. 3 more knives. Chapter 305 auto-generated chapter title. 305. Ron and the forces behind Ron can't afford it. Raikage and Water Shadow at the moment. The expressions on the faces of the two people are very strange. They never thought of it. Everyone in this village used this tone to persuade them both. And they can hear it. These people are not joking at all. They turned out to be persuading themselves sincerely. And they are very worried about being bullied in Konoha village. Could it be that this kid is really so powerful? How can 373 be possible? Don't say it's this kid anymore. Even Uchiha Madara and Senjujuma are not so strong at this age. In this regard, Raikage and Shui Ying are still very confident. Even these two men who are called the gods of the ninja world. This kid is such an old age in front of me. It could not be the opponent of Raikage and Shui Ying. So, where does the confidence of the people around you come from? I don't understand what you are talking about. And how can my dignified movie swallow this breath? I will be defeated by this kid. What are you kidding? Rai Ying glared. Advertisement. Staring fiercely at the people on the opposite side. Why don't you listen to persuasion? You have no good fruit like this. We didn't lie to you. If you do it today, it's not just you alone, it's probably your village. We only remind you out of good intentions. As the ninjas of Konoha village, they all talked about it. They knew Ron's strength and identity. Let's talk about Ron's own strength first. This guy defeated Oshimaru alone. And Dashimaru also channeled the first and second generations of Hokage. It was all killed by Ron. Such strength. It must be no problem to deal with the movie and Water Shadow in front of me. So they don't worry about Ron being bullied at all. Instead, worry about these two shadows. If they really do something to Ron. I'm afraid Ron will give him a lesson here. And the most important thing is Ron's identity background. Everyone present now knows Ron's identity. Except for Rang and Shuiying. After all, just a few days ago. Advertisement. The few days when riots broke out in Konoha village. People from Ron's family have appeared here. They beheaded Uchiha Tomatake and Danzo by thunder. Even the way they shot is still talked about in Konoha village. These are all Ron's people. The strength of those people is even stronger than Hokage. Even Ron has no strength. If you bully Ron here, then, the forces behind him will retaliate. That's why they said Raikage was definitely not the only injured this time. Even the village behind Lei Ying would be injured along with it. So, these ninjas in Konoha village did not deceive at all. They really don't want this bloody storm to erupt in Konoha. That's why he stood up to persuade. Let Lei Ying and Shui Ying retreat in the face of difficulty. It's just what they didn't expect. This persuasion, on the contrary, aroused Rai Ying's anger. Rai Ying frowned and said angrily, I think you all have a brain disease. Since they all say that this little guy 2.2 is not irritable. Then I will see with my own eyes. Is it really unpleasant, or are you bluffing? Is there anyone Raikage dare not offend? Chapter 306 Auto-generated chapter title. 306. What kind of style is this going to spread? Look like this. Raikage is determined to teach Ron a lesson. After all, as the leader of a village. It was ignored by others. This is not just a personal humiliation to him. Or ignoring his entire village. As the leader, this situation is not allowed in any case. If it spreads out, he was dignified by Raikage who was ignored by a kid in the village of Konoha. Where does his reputation go? How should Leian village deal with it? This is not just his personal problem. It's about the face of his entire village. So anyway, there must be a lesson to Ron this time. Hey, Raikage, this kid is weird. It's better for you to be more careful. Suddenly Shui Ying realized that something was wrong. The expressions of the people around are really weird. It stands to reason that they should be very nervous at this time. But this is not the case now. Not only are they not nervous. Advertisement. On the contrary, he looked like he was happy to see it happen. This is really something wrong. It seems that they are confident in this kid named Ron. This is impossible. This guy is a forbearance at best. There are tens of thousands of people in one village. What's so surprising? Haven't heard of any Sha Ren who can beat a shadow-level powerhouse. Where are they emboldened? Shui Ying frowned. Originally didn't want to remind Raking. But after all, the two of them came together, so it is still necessary to remind. The movie heard Shui Ying say so. Of course he knows how powerful it is. But the arrow had to be sent on the string. If you take a step back now. That would be a shame. Raikage can be foreseen. It won't take long for this incident to spread throughout the ninja world. By then, Leian village would be a joke. Will be laughed at by all ninjas. Raikage can't afford to lose this person. If others knew that he was frightened by a child. This is really embarrassing and lost home. Advertisement. Okay, shut up, I see. But this matter is not so easy. Don't be frightened by the bluff of Konoha village. Isn't it just a forbearance? I don't believe he can even turn the flowers. Rai Ying clenched his fist, his fingers creaked. While walking towards Ron. It seems, they don't care about your life or death. Ron just shook his head faintly, then said with a smile. Lei Ying was stunned when he heard this sentence. Perhaps, did not pay any attention. One more, it's really a bit miserable to be mixed like this. Lei Ying grew said, thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Then he snorted and laughed. Who gave you such a bravado? Instead, he stared at Ron deeply. Do they think you can't beat me? Hey, or is your popularity with Konoha not good? You kid. 377 This group of people are watching here, and they won't call you some helpers. Quote. Chapter 307 Auto-generated chapter title. 307. Want to form an alliance with Marine. Do you dare to mess with Ron? Ha ha ha, a joke. They think I can't beat you. You little devil, you really have a hard time talking about it. Are you trying to laugh at me? Lei Ying was completely amused. This little guy has been bragging since the beginning. The danger came and didn't stop. Still bragging. This courage is really moving. People can't help but laugh. However, at this moment, in the office of the fourth generation of Hokage, several cronies of the fourth generation reported immediately. Report the fourth generation of Hokage. Oh no. Something big happened. This statement came out. Let the four generations of Hokage who have been busy with the office a little bit different. Hey, what does this mean? This time, what big things can happen? The four generations do not understand. After all, there is nothing to be surprised at right now. Advertisement. But seeing the expression on your hand. As if there was something terrible. This makes the four generations feel a little curious. So ordered the guard. Report immediately. The guard said immediately. Raikong and Shuiying ran into Ron on the street. Some unhappiness happened between them. It looks like I'm going to do it now. This statement came out. The fourth generation of Hokage was slightly taken aback. There was no reaction at first. After a while, this said. What did you say? Are they too crazy? Why did you argue with Ron? According to their information, you shouldn't know him. Are these two guys mentally ill? Even if you don't know Ron, there is no need to fight with one of them. The fourth generation of Hokage really doesn't understand. Same as Shadow. What are these two guys thinking in their heads? It's not surprising that the two of them appeared in Konoha village. After all, it is the Chunin exam held in Konoha village. Advertisement. The other villages all came to the top. And the fourth generation also expected that their movie will definitely come. After all, this time, although it is nominally to hold the Zongan exam. But actually, every village wants to come and see Marine. After all, with their intelligence, you will definitely get it. Marine and Konoha have already formed an alliance. And, presumably, they also know the strength of Marine. So this time this group of people must come to see Marine under the name of Zonran. I even want to make some alliances with Marine. These 4 generations of Hokage are all clear. It's just what he didn't expect. When Redhead and Shueying came here, they clashed with Ron. You know, Ron's position in Marine is very important. Since these guys came to connect with Marine, why did they bother Ron? This is not clear to the 4 generations. Can't figure it out. Could it be that they don't even know, good Jiao Jiao, that Ron is from Marine? It's impossible. How can they not know with their intelligence capabilities? Every village has a lot of spies planted between each other, and everyone knows this well. So, how could the other party not know Ron's identity in Marine? Chapter 308, Auto-generated chapter title. 308. When did Ron start to wipe out the spy? This is even more confusing for the 4 generations. Since it is here to form an alliance with Marine. Why did you mess with Ron? People who can be village chiefs are not fools after all. Therefore, the 4 generations do not think that these two guys are also fools. Then there is only one answer. That is, Redhead and Shueying don't know Ron. They didn't get any news from Ron at all in the intelligence. That's why there is such a big misunderstanding here. If they know Ron's identity or know Ron's strength through intelligence. Even if it is one of them. It is impossible to clash with Ron on this street. After all, Ron personally killed Oshimaru not long ago. That is to say 377. Regardless of Ron's identity, he is an important member of Marine. Still Ron's strength, beheaded Oshimaru. These 2 very important pieces of information were not transmitted to the ears of the 2 village chiefs through any channels. Advertisement. This is the strangest thing. The spies between the various villages are very hidden. This also leads to even if it is. The 4 generations wanted to eradicate each other's spies, but they couldn't find a specific person at all. Therefore, it is impossible to prevent the spread of some important information. And most importantly, some of Ron's deeds and identity are not important information at all. As long as there is a Redhead or Shueying spy in Konoha village. You can easily pass the news back. But why is the news so easy to be sent back? Shueying and Lei Ying didn't even know. Impossible. They must have their trusted spies in Konoha. It's impossible for this spy to even pass back such important news. 4 generations fell into contemplation. According to this theory, if you continue to think about it, then there is only one result. It was their spy who had an accident. It must have been killed. Who did it? Generations do not believe that it was their own people who did it, because they didn't even know who the spy was. Then only, one may be Ron. Advertisement. Only Ron has the motivation and ability to do this. He must have killed all the spies in these villages ahead of time. This is also the main reason why his identity has not been spread out. So Ron didn't notice any unusual behavior at all. Instead, only the people in other villages were dealt with. 3 more. This kid is terrible. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. I have to say that Ron has saved a lot of face for the 4 generations. 4 generations of Hokage, what do we do now? They may be fighting. 4 generations like a long time did not want to come out. Basically all under the monitoring of the 4 generations. Ron, this guy is when to get rid of these spies. This is really terrible. The subordinate said suddenly, but they didn't do anything about them. In other words, after all, he knew the whereabouts of Ron. Then when did Ron kill the spy? The spies that he sent to monitor him, in fact, Ron had known for a long time. Just when the 4 generations were thinking. Chapter 309, Auto-generated chapter title. 309. Provoked Ron and walked away without eating. Do not care. If they really fight, let them fight. Since this guy Taoying has a strong head, then teach him a lesson. Let him know that Konoha village is not easy to bully. I understand the purpose of his coming this time. It can't be so smooth, let them have a relationship with the Navy and the Army. Since he took the initiative to provoke Ron, then we don't care about him. Let her go and clean up this mess. It just so happened to let her know the fate of angering Marine. It's a lesson for him. After all, it is the 4th generation of Hokage. I always think about problems from the perspective of Hokage. So he understands better. What to do is to benefit the village of Konoha. What can I do to suppress other villages? I heard the 4th generation of Hokage say so. Advertisement. These men immediately relieved their minds. No longer pay attention to this matter. Then he withdrew. They also need to check nearby. See what happens over there. I don't know how far this rakeage will anger Ron. They knew Ron's strength. At that time, they were all present on the day that Ron and Oshimaru were fighting. They could clearly see every detail of the battle. At that time, it left a strong psychological shock to the few present. If this time Ron can play against rakeage, presumably, the shock level even surpassed the battle with Oshimaru at that time. Don't look at this kind of excitement. So these men bid farewell to 4 generations later. He immediately rushed to the place where Raikage and Ron were. I don't know if the two sides will fight this time. If the two of them fight, this battle must be very interesting. I can't wait to watch it. Who said no? Now I can't wait. Advertisement. The battle between these two guys must be epic. A few ninjas from Konoha village. After all, Ron is angered. Helen City will never give Lei Yin village a face again. Raikage had already reached Ron. I heard your name is Ron, right? While discussing, he came to the location of Raikage and Ron. Now, thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Haha, this is what he deserves. An angry look. I think Lei Ying is miserable, he will definitely leave a painful lesson today. Since you are so confident, then let me see where your little guy is. Yeah, who asked him to provoke Ron? They wanted to take advantage of this Zongan exam to come over and get in touch with Marine to establish contact. This time, I'm afraid it will be over. Anyway, it's not in our village. It would be good for us if we can see him and Ron have a bad relationship. This time, Raikage is about to run away without eating it. 4 more today's end knife. Yes, so it is absolutely impossible for them to alliance with Marine in Lei Yin village. Chapter 310, auto-generated chapter title. 310. Do you know the consequences of killing in the village of Konoha? Raikage was very impatient now. Be a kid who seems to be 10 years old. Over and over again. Make a mockery. This really makes the movie feel unsafe. And here is the Konoha village. The others in Konoha knew that he was Raikage's identity. Here, if you are ridiculed by a child without responding. That would be a shameful. 380. It will make others think. They Lei Yin village are afraid of Konoha. This is about the dignity of a village. So, anyway, Raikage must teach Ron a lesson. Otherwise, this will shame their entire village. Raikage at the moment.
His eyes looked at Ron angrily. You're such a kid. Where is the confidence? I really don't want to do it, for fear that one of them will kill you if you don't pay attention.
Unexpectedly, you guy still doesn't know good or bad. Advertisement. If that's the case, don't blame me. Go to hell. Rai Ying looked at Ron fiercely. However, this word came out. The water shadow on the side did indeed say, hey, it's okay to vent your breath, don't be impulsive. Are you crazy? Don't forget, this is Konoha village. This is not Lei Yin village. If you kill someone here, that's something you can't eat and walk around.
I don't want to start the next Ninja World War so soon. You do this, but you want to hurt me, understand? Don't give me impulse. Just give him a simple lesson, don't kill him.
After all, Shui Ying is quite calm. He is not as impulsive as Raikage. This is not their village after all. I said it was nothing to kill people in my own village. But this is someone else's village. Kill other people's people in other people's villages. This means provocation. At the same time, it also means declaring war. It will definitely cause a large-scale war between the two villages. And these two are big villages. Advertisement. The battle between the two of them will surely set off a new round of ninja war. So anyway, it is impossible for this to happen. And there is no room for negotiation on this matter. After all, every village needs face. It is impossible to watch other people's shadows slaughter in the village. Lei Ying glanced at Water Shadow. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. That is to usher in the next Ninja World War. If you kill someone here. It's just that Ron was P***** D off just now. What kind of impact will this have? In fact, she also knows it. After all, it is not an ordinary ninja. At this time. 2.2 The movie kills in the village of Konoha. That's why I forgot it for a while. Who wouldn't do this? Wouldn't it be a loss of face to Grandma's house? I also know that what Shui Ying said is right. #+ equals. Then there is only one result. One more. Regardless of whether you ask, let's swallow. He is a movie. After all, it is the 5 major villages. Chapter 311 Auto-generated chapter title. 311. You should be thinking about whether Ron will kill you. The aftermath of the murder in the village of Konoha. There is only one. So, after Shui Ying reminded. The movie also said, don't worry, I know that I will not kill him. I just want to teach him a little lesson and let this kid know that there is a sky outside. Also let the people in Konoha village know. Offensive to the fate of Lei Ying. Humph. Lei Ying snorted coldly. I heard Raikage say so. Shui Ying finally relaxed. As long as you don't kill in the village of Konoha. Everything is easy to say. Even if a person is seriously injured here, it can actually be resolved through diplomatic relations 22. But if one is killed, then it will definitely arouse anger from Konoha village.
When the time comes, the sentiment will be agitated. This matter cannot be resolved through diplomatic relations. They are very aware of this. Advertisement, you remember what you said. Don't be impulsive for a while, otherwise I won't come out and wipe your A. You have to think about it. You and I are walking together now. Any action you make will involve me. I don't want to be implicated by you. It's right to teach the kid in Konoha village, if you get muddled again later. Don't blame me for shooting you, I'm not like you tired me. The water shadow is quite sensible, although he is walking with Lei Ying. But it does not mean that he and the movie are in the same group. He can watch Raikage and Konoha village have a bad relationship. But he would never watch Raikage kill anyone in Konoha. He didn't want to get involved in this battle for no reason. So I made a statement in advance. The conversation between these two shadows was naturally heard by everyone around them. Of course, this is also the purpose of Shuiying. He must let Konoha's people hear his stand. Have to say, advertisement to become a shadow, the scheming is naturally deep. Every shadow cannot be underestimated. This guy thought Raikage could kill Ron. Look at these two movies in a serious discussion about how to not kill Ron. It's really a headache for 380 people. I really can't help but want to remind them. Then it is estimated that it will lead to a big war? Yes, this should be what they are considering. The Anbu members who were observing silently were discussing with each other. Just let them daydream here. 2 more, ha ha ha, I can't wait to see what you said. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Look at their expressions on eating cancer later, this should be wonderful. I can't, Ron should be measured, but I prefer to watch the show next to me. Let them stop having this daydream, if you kill the movie here. They are still too naive, they didn't think about whether they could kill Ron. What's worrying now is, what if Ron kills the two of them? Chapter 312, Auto-generated chapter title, 312. The punch of the movie is easily resolved. At this time, suddenly, a thunderstorm suddenly appeared. It turned out that Raikage made the shot. This guy is really welcome. He even used his own special skill as soon as he shot it. Turned into a thunder, he rushed directly in front of Ron from where he was. Look at this posture. If it hadn't been for what I heard from the movie just now. The people around really thought Raikage had the heart to kill. Deal with the next forbearance. Make this posture as for? This is the thought in Shui Ying's mind at this moment. It seems, this guy is not just to teach Ron, he still wants to give everyone a warning. It's also to show their Raikage's strength in Konoha village. I have to say that although this guy is careless, he is rather rough. But my mind is still very gloomy, it seems that Raiking doesn't tolerate mice. Shui Ying frowned, took a deep breath, and said, have to say. Raikage is also very difficult to deal with, advertisement. Just when Shui Ying thought so, the punch of the movie has come to Ron. This punch is enough to crack mountains and rocks. Raikage wanted to scare Ron, it would be better to scare Ron into peeing on the street. Only in this way can this kid be humiliated, let this little devil who doesn't know the heights of the earth understand. He can't afford to provoke anyone, let him know too. It's not that Konoha village can do whatever he wants after he hugs a thigh. This is the purpose of Raikage, however, at this moment. Suddenly, a huge pillow appeared in front of Lei Ying. Raikage didn't even react, this punch directly knocked off the pillow. Exactly, it was this pillow that blocked his punch. There was a boom. The original powerful punch was directly blocked. This made Raikage's face not necessarily changed greatly. How is this possible? He knew exactly how powerful his punch was. Let alone a pillow. Even if it's a hill, it's useless to stand in front of you. Advertisement, it was enough to be opened by one's own punch. But at this moment, a pillow was in front of him, but he couldn't break it. This punch seemed to hit the cotton, all the strength is absorbed. What is this? And Ron still stood there and didn't move. Ron thought it would be so powerful, 3 more Raikage didn't expect it. Group he used the guardian beast form of the spirit spear. It's really disappointing, for good money, the opponent can block his own attack. This was the first time he played against Raikage. What are you kidding talking about? Is that just a little bit of power? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. It is impossible for the movie to attack him. Ron shook his head, disappointed. But what I didn't expect was, this is a very powerful character portrayed in the animation. Didn't expect it to be so weak. This little devil made a mockery again. However, this sentence deeply stimulated Raikage. Chapter 313, Auto-generated chapter title. 313. Even if the 4 generations come today, they won't be able to save you. The water shadow on the side was also dumbfounded. She was worried that the punch in the movie would harm Ron. What if someone accidentally killed Ron? This was the one thing she was most worried about just now. But he never thought of it. This punch of the movie turned out to be. It was blocked by Luo Di, and the big toy-like pillow that appeared in front of Ron. What the hell is it? It could block Lei Ying's punch. Let alone the pillow just now. Raikage's punch, 380, even Rashomon may not be able to block it, right? For Raikage's strength, the water shadow is quite acceptable. But the scene that appeared at this moment really made her a little puzzled. This shouldn't be, Lei Ying, that punch just now used his full strength. This water shadow has already been seen. That's why he was worried at the beginning that he would kill Ron because of manslaughter. Just in case one didn't hold back the strength, it would really kill Ron. But now, looking at this scene in front of me, Shui Yingjun, CCCC, Doesn't know how to describe her mood anymore. Advertisement this. Ron was ridiculed again. This is really incredible. Can you imagine, what is Raikage's mood now? Ron not only blocked the full attack of the movie. And there was a light sneer. Let alone movies, if you change to Shui Ying himself. No matter how good his temper is, even if she is sensible no matter how calm she is. Faced with this situation, if one is ridiculed, it is estimated that the mentality will explode directly. I can't wait to kill the other party, so, since I will be so angry. What will happen to Raikage? It must be furious too. Think of it here. Shui Ying focused his gaze on Lei Ying again. Sure enough, I found out. Raikage's expression is ugly now. It seems that he has gradually lost his sanity. It is estimated that there is nothing to control at this moment. This guy might want to kill Ron right now. Oops. Advertisement Shui Ying didn't want to provoke a show. If Raikage really killed Ron, then he will inevitably delay the relationship. Thinking of this, Shui Ying immediately backed away. However, at this moment, Lei Ying suddenly angered. I think you kid is really looking for death. Even if 4 generations come today, they won't be able to save you. You asked for this. Riking was furious. Give a loud shout. Then he took a few steps back. Thunder abuse level Chio dance. Then rushed over suddenly. This time the attack has exerted all his power. The punch just now didn't break through the toy. It really makes the movie a bit puzzling. He really doesn't believe in this evil. This time, must make every effort to destroy this thing. Now. Raikage thought it was a psychic thing. It is probably a special kind of psychic beast.